Hello everyone, welcome to Espanol Con Joe. This is a short video series outlining Spanish pronunciation for advanced students. Maybe you've been learning Spanish for a few years, you've learned a little about phonetics, and you have some of the basics mastered, but you're still struggling with pronunciation. If you want to elevate your Spanish to the next level, this video is for you. Throughout these videos, we will go over the various pronunciation rules of Spanish, so that you can master Spanish pronunciation and also learn a little about Spanish phonology. In today's episode, we will discuss the Spanish nasal consonants n, and ñ, as well as the Spanish nasal allophones. We will provide you with rules and an example of each so that you know how to pronounce Spanish nasal consonants like a pro. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the video. First, we will discuss the Spanish nasal phonemes. These may be easy for some of you, but it will be good to get a review of exactly how to make these sounds. The first few consonants we will look at today are n, and ñ. Is the voiced bilabial nasal consonant and is pronounced by pressing your lips together and allowing air to pass through your nose and making noise with your vocal cords. This sound is the same as in English and corresponds with the letter M. An example of this sound will be in the word mucho. Next, we have the sound n, which is the voiced alveolar nasal consonant, which is pronounced by putting your tongue on the alveolar ridge, allowing air to pass through your nose, and making noise with your vocal cords. This is the same sound as in English, and corresponds with the letter N. An example of this sound in Spanish will be in the word nombre. Finally, we have the sound ñ, which is the voiced palatal nasal consonant, and is pronounced by raising your tongue on your hard palate, allowing air to pass through your nose, and making noise with your vocal cords. This sound corresponds to the Spanish letter ñ, which is the N with the tilde. There's technically no ñ sound in English, although we do have a similar sound in some words such as the N in canyon. An example of a word with this sound in Spanish is España. Here's an example of all of these consonants in one sentence. Mi nieto tiene 10 años. Great job! Now let's move on to the Spanish nasal allophones. You might be wondering, what is an allophone? An allophone is a phonetic realization of a specific phoneme, or sound. It is how the sound is actually pronounced by speakers of the language based on a specific context. For example, in English, with the word water, the phoneme of the letter T would be T. However, we don't say water, but instead we say water, with the tap sound. This tap is an allophone of the T sound. In Spanish, there are many allophones of the nasal phoneme n, based on the context of where it appears in the word. If the nasal consonant appears before another consonant, such as in the word inglés, the nasal consonant changes in order to assimilate to that sound, because it is in a different place in your mouth. We will look at these consonants based on the place of articulation, or where you make the sound in your mouth. The first nasal allophone we will look at is actually the sound. This is the bilabial nasal allophone, and it occurs when a nasal consonant n or comes before the bilabial sound b or p. For example, this occurs in the word invierno or winter. Instead of pronouncing it with an n as invierno, Spanish speakers pronounce this as invierno. This is a more natural pronunciation, and I think you will find it harder to pronounce this word with an n sound. The next sound we will look at is the sound. This sound is in the labiodental place of articulation and is pronounced by putting your top set of teeth on top of your lower lip and allowing air to pass through your nose as you make noise. The resulting sound is This occurs when the letter N is in front of the letter F, such as in the word amphora. Instead of pronouncing this as ánfora, Spanish speakers will assimilate this sound to the labiodental place for a more natural sounding amphora. This is a little tricky to pronounce since English does not have this sound, but it is important if you wish to master Spanish pronunciation. Next on our list, we have the regular sound. This sound occurs when the N is in front of an S sound and does not have a different pronunciation than n. For example, if you had this word, it would be pronounced as ansiedad, with a regular alveolar N. Next, we have the interdental nasal sound n, which occurs whenever the N is before a T or a D. This is produced by putting your tongue in between your teeth like so, and allowing air to pass through your nose as you make noise. The resulting sound is This occurs when the N is before a T or a D, such as in the word diente. Instead of pronouncing this word as diente, we would say it as diente. This one is hard to mispronounce since your tongue wants to go there by itself, but it is important to know where to make the sound nonetheless. Next, we will talk about the post-alveolar nasal consonant, which is pronounced as m. This occurs wherever there is an N in front of a ch sound. This is produced by raising your tongue to your hard palate, allowing air to pass through your nose and making noise. This is a little farther back in your mouth than the regular n sound. For example, this sound occurs in the word ancha. This is not pronounced as ancha, rather as ancha. This one is probably the hardest one to pronounce for English speakers, as we don't have this sound. Finally, we will talk about the velar nasal consonant. This occurs wherever there is an N in front of a K or a G. We have the same sound in English, such as the N in English. For example, this sound occurs in the word banco. Instead of pronouncing it as banco, it is farther back in your mouth and is pronounced as banco. I think this one is easier for English speakers since we have this one in English and it is pretty common. Okay, now that we've looked at all of these Spanish nasal consonants, let's practice. Please pronounce the following words aloud. I will then give you the correct pronunciation and transcription. Pay attention to where in your mouth the nasal is pronounced. Okay. Entrar. Mencía. Ambro. Manga. Invierno. Confiable. Gancho. Inglés. Hopefully you pronounced those correctly. Be careful. All of those words contain a different variant of the nasal consonant. If you did get them all right, you are definitely on your way to becoming a master in Spanish pronunciation. Okay, that's all for today's video. Next time we will talk about the Spanish rhotic consonants. I hope this helped you learn a little more about Spanish pronunciation. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Gracias!